Unpopular opinion. Class traitors deserve to experience burnout. I just saw a video on FB of a woman who took the day off because of her mental health, and her manager called her to tell her that this was her third sick day in the last 4 months and that she doesn't sound sick at all. She's apparently irresponsible as her colleagues have to pick up her slack. The usual rhetoric. The woman has enough and quits on the spot over the phone. Of course, the comments section is filled with bootlickers calling her lazy and rooting for the FC King. Business. How can people care more about someone else's wealth over their own well-being is beyond me. These people, in my opinion, really do deserve to be exploited to the point they experience burnout. Sorry. Not sorry. Saying they deserve it might be a satisfying thought, but that happening won't really do anything to change the overall systematic problems. And their viewpoint is a result of the system in the first place. I do understand the frustration though. It sounds perfectly reasonable to have one sick day a month, and I'm tired of pretending it's not. My boss, not feeling well? Go home. You can do the work tomorrow or I'll take care of it if it is urgent. I fully intend on this being the last job I have. I called out sick to go to the AFC Championship game. I found really good tickets and at an amazing price. So I let my immediate boss know a week before that I was gonna call out. It was all good. So 2 days after, one of the bigger bosses told me I am not allowed to call out to go to a football game. I told him I'll call out whenever I want. I told him I had once-in-a-lifetime tickets and I wasn't gonna pass that up for him or anyone. One more time with feeling. Guys, your fellow workers are not the enemy. Stop attacking people in the same boat you are in. You are committing exactly the same mistake as the bootlickers. Until workers stop trying to dunk on one another and actually develop some sense of solidarity, nothing will change. If your work gives a set number of sick hours a month, you should be able to use that many a month. I get 14 at this point, and should be able to use all when I get sick. In addition, I should be to use whatever amount of PTO I get in a month. I'll even go further. I have 260 hours of PTO saved. I should be able to go off for a month if I chose. I have the time. I agree with you. Tired of fellow oppressed, but dumbasses, pretending this is normal and acting happy that this is how it is. They're holding us all back with their stupidity. Let them work 60-hour weeks and get exploited until they die from burnout. I'm over it. I hear what you're saying and I feel you. But this is a narrative we need to be really careful with. Playing, which people are good enough to deserve a break from capitalism, is their game, not ours. We win with radical compassion. The elites have conditioned so much of the working class to treat them like job-creating saviors. It's economic Stockholm syndrome at its finest. All we have to do is work harder and longer. And vote for people who will let the corporations and billionaires keep more of their money while eliminating regulations and those pesky unions. And the elites will shower us with more jobs, higher wages, and better benefits. Fuck that. I sort of agree with you based on how frustrating interacting with them is, but at the end of the day they're severely brainwashed since birth to think the way they do. Just reminded me of a LinkedIn post I've seen from my country, in which some loser said that burnout doesn't exist for successful people or something, because they simply chew and spit it out. My blood is boiling. Thanks. I've been taking a sick day once for the past, say, 8 weeks. Still haven't been fired, surprisingly, and I don't know how much I am allowed in the first place. Probably way less than I've been getting away with. But I think after taking 3 days last week I may have pushed my luck too far. I'd fully support this if the bootlickers actually learned something from it all. But they wouldn't. They're often the type who would blame poor workers for their burnout instead of their poor management and/or terrible office culture they contribute to. They'd learn the wrong lesson and be even more of a class traitor for it. No. If we're talking schadenfreude that might actually lead to change, it's layoffs that hit home for these folks. No matter how much you tell people to keep their chin up and be professional, a layoff cuts deeply into every person's life, injecting instability and uncertainty, even when you did everything right. Layoffs hurt in ways that pierce through even the strongest delusions of faith in the system and reveal the true value of loyalty to a corporation, being used and thrown away without a second thought. That's when these folks learn that they never actually had a chance and have just been useful idiots fueling the problems they so hate. By declaring someone a class traitor, you're just further dividing everyone and impeding the formation of class solidarity. There are definitely bootlicker out there. However, many are victims of the brainrot capitalism causes rather than perpetrators of its continuation, and should either be enlightened or persuaded to abandon their position rather than violently removed. Ask yourself, is burnout truly enough? They want you to burn out, then complain about your performance. With people like this you will never win. Never. Don't be too harsh on them. I used to be a bootlicker a few years back before I began my journey. It's all ignorance and we want to educate them the ways of class consciousness. Agreed. The right are individualists who only care about themselves. And they cherish money above humanity. This particular manager sounds rude. But most are just helpless middlemen for cruel corporate policies and hate having to enforce them. Many get promoted into these positions thinking they can make a difference and be a good leader, only to realize that they absolutely and it is all totally hopeless. Feud with the auto workers. Feud with the Swifties. This guy is not as popular as the media is making him out to be. He lost last election. He will lose this election by a more than expected. People will take to the streets to celebrate again. While I'm a big fan of, the only notice they get is when they notice you packing your stuff. I don't get the quit in the spot without having somewhere to go. Give them the sure no problem. Look for another job on their time and then boom ghost them, but quoting over the phone with jobs. Sometimes hard to come by. Not a good move.
If you enjoyed this video, please check out our playlists full of similar content. Epic Heracast is like doom scrolling for your ears. Please like, share, and subscribe.